I'm Mike Yowell, President of the Council Bluffs Community Alliance. Would you all please rise if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of these United States of America and to the Constitution which founded our republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you all for coming. We're going to try to do a couple of different things here tonight. Dean Hutchison could not be here. He's in California, so we're going to try to Skype him. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. If that doesn't work, his dad's here. And then also, we are actually live streaming it on Facebook right now, so you can go out afterwards. If you didn't get enough tonight, you won't watch it again. I'd like to read for you the mission statement of the Council Bluffs Community Alliance. The Council Bluffs Community Alliance is a lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and allied organization whose purpose is to empower and embrace diversity in Southwest Iowa. Having said that, I'm going to now turn it over to Helen Broadway Savage, our moderator.
Good evening. Good morning. Welcome to the City Council Forum. This is our, I don't know how many years we've been doing this, but thank you everyone for participating, and thank you everyone for coming out. The rules this evening are, there are no rules. We're going to have each candidate briefly introduce themselves. If you can keep it to 30 seconds, then at the end, we can also maybe give you 30 seconds to a minute. Once everyone's introduced themselves, we'll start with the questions. You'll have a minute and a half per question, and we'll start just with Vergery, did I say that correct? And then we'll go down the line. The second question will go with Joe, and so forth. So hopefully, all of you will have a chance to answer at least one question first and one question last, depending on if you guys actually follow the rules and stay within the minute and a half. We have a timekeeper in the back, Laura. At 1 minute 15 seconds, she's going to yell time. That means you still have 10 to 15 seconds to wrap up your thought. After that, I rudely snatch the microphone from you. Now, after that, if you could just hand the microphone down, because we only have one microphone that we all have to share. So, any questions? All right, then we will start.
Good evening. My name is Vergery Sanford, and I'm a minister, a mother, and a breast cancer survivor. I was born and raised right here in Council Bluffs, where I attended school, graduated from college, and all. I'm running to represent the underserved communities, our working families. I just want to be a voice on the council that represents those different sides that are not always represented. One thing before I pass on, I've been led today by this scripture, Proverbs 31:8, and it just says, speak up for those who can't speak for themselves. And it says to fight for those who can't fight for themselves. And I feel like that's what I'm here for, to represent those who can't necessarily fight or speak for themselves. So thank you.
Okay. My name is Joe DeSalvo. I'm from Council Bluffs. I've been here most of my life, short of about 4 years. I spent in Sioux City at school. After that time, I decided to come back home, and this is where I want to raise my family. This is where I was raised, and I would like to make sure that Council Bluffs continues on in the right direction and do some tweaking to see if we can even improve on where we're at right now. So, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. For one thing, I know it takes a lot to come out and join us, so we appreciate that. My name is Melissa Head. I'm one of your current council members. I've been on for 2 terms now, and I'm hopeful to get a 3rd term to serve you all for 4 more years. I'm born and raised in Council Bluffs, love it here. I went to school here and have lived here my entire life, other than several years I spent overseas with the Army Corps of Engineers. I'm currently an attorney downtown Omaha with the Corps of Engineers. That's what I do when I'm not doing city council duties. And I'm running again just because I feel like we've had a lot of great progress over the last 8 years, and just really want to continue with that progress and see some of the projects we've started through through to fruition and just continue to represent you, the residents of Council Bluffs. So thank you for your support so far.
All right, good evening. I'm Mike Wolf. I'm a transplant actually from Eastern Iowa. I grew up in Cedar Rapids and met my wife at the University of Iowa. Sarah is actually from Council Bluffs. She graduated from AL in 1996. Through a number of moves through West Omaha, Arizona, and now back here. We're back here in our home. We're actually building a house here over on Gleason Avenue, by St. Albert. So we're definitely making this our permanent home. And when I say that, it's not the cliche like, yeah, this is our permanent home, but really it is. We're actually making sure that we can retire in place and age in place. So it's really, something that we're really focused on being here. So for running, now that I've told you that I'm going to be here forever, well, I'm interested in how Council Bluffs is going to move. I've been involved in a number of committees, PACE, Blink with the citywide Wi-Fi, as well as the City Planning Commission and the White House. So I've always been involved in a lot of things in Council Bluffs, and I want to grow that contribution for myself. So I think City Council for me is kind of that next step. I think there's a lot of opportunities. Sorry, she's going to tell me to wrap it up. So I think there's a lot of opportunities here. I think we need to have a lot of factual-based analysis on our decisions. I think there's some decisions that are made that maybe don't always think about all the facts involved, and I think we need to look at that. I appreciate your time tonight. I really appreciate the Alliance for having this, and thank you for your time.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lynn Brannigan. I have lived in Council Bluffs for more than 40 years. I've been a community volunteer for more than 30 years. That includes 12 years serving the citizens on the City Council. I lost my bid for re-election 2 years ago by 29 votes, so I am proof positive that every vote is important. And I thank you all for being here this evening. It shows that you're interested in city politics, city community, and how we go forward. I do have three main goals for running for City Council. The first is to do what I can do to make Council Bluffs a better place. And also to partner with others where it makes sense and where it will benefit the city the most. And finally, to polish and present, going forward to the future, a very uplifting, more positive image of Council Bluffs. Towards that end, I have served on the city's image campaign since 2013. Thank you. Time, wrap it up. Okay. I am a small business owner here in Council Bluffs. I have a husband and 2 children and 2 cats.
My name is Al Ruby. Been raised and born in the city of Council Bluffs. I can't place myself in any other place. I've been married to my wife for 37 years. I got 3 wonderful kids, 9 wonderful grandkids, and I see a future in Council Bluffs. I was told 15 years ago when I worked for the Department of Corrections and went to the Sheriff's Department that city of Council Bluffs is the place to be. Council Bluffs is growing. It's getting bigger, and we got to separate ourselves from the city of Omaha because they used to use us as Kentuckians. Well, we're not. We're not Kentuckians. We are the city of Council Bluffs, and we're proud to be that. And I can see the future getting bigger, and I think that I can make a difference, but not just by myself. It's going to take all the council members. It's going to help to make a difference. And it's also going to take the city of Council Bluffs. Every citizen in Council Bluffs has got to give their input, because those who don't go out and vote shouldn't say anything, but those who vote need to be heard. And everybody's opinion counts. It doesn't make a difference who you are. Everybody's opinion counts. And I urge you guys to come and vote on the 9th of November and get the city council on its feet and look straight ahead. Thank you. November 7th, excuse me.
Unfortunately, Peter is not here. He's in California on business, so I'm going to, he's already responded to the questions. I'm going to read his responses until they get technology up to par. So, first, Pete would like to say thank you to the Alliance for inviting him and all the candidates here. Again, Peter Hutchison, 4th generation resident of Council Bluffs, raised by a family familiar with serving better in our community. This upbringing instilled in me a pride for the city of Council Bluffs. This pride, this commitment to the city is what made my decision to return after college an easy one. I plan to bring a new perspective to City Council, a perspective that represents all of Council Bluffs as opposed to a small portion of the community. As a City Council member, I will work to increase transparency in government spending and communications between city government and city residents, and I'll stop right there.
Now, I see a lot of people in the back that are standing. There's an entire row of seats up here, if you're not afraid of the front row. There's also some seats in the third row, and there's one right here. So come on up. We don't bite.
I have him on here, so I'm going to play for Pete. And when it's his turn, I'll have the microphone a little bit closer so we can hear him talk at least.
So the first question, actually, there are two questions submitted that are actually related to this first topic, so I combined them because the first one is really just a yes or no answer. First, do you support the reinstatement of collective bargaining rights for city employees? And the second part is, during the 2017 legislative session, mandatory collective bargaining rights were reduced to base wages. However, several other topics were included as permissible subjects of bargaining. Will you support city workers by negotiating over permissible subjects during all contract discussions? So first, do you support the reinstatement of collective bargaining rights? Probably is just a yes or no. And then finally, will you support city workers by negotiating over permissible subjects during all contract discussions? And then elaborate on that, please.
Okay, so, yes, I would support the permissible subjects. I would support negotiating those. I feel that I feel that our rights are protected. Forgive me. I feel that our cities, our states, and our nation are stronger when we have, our workers are protected by the collective bargaining rights. I feel that we're stronger when we're taking care of our workers and they're protected.
As to collective bargaining rights, that was something that was passed the state legislature. That was a state level deal. That is something that I think we need to take a definite look at on the city level. The state kind of passed, a kind of outline for local, how we should handle our local folks. That being said, we need to take care of our local employees. They're the folks that are out there every day. In the past, I worked with a lot of guys in the summers for the city traffic department. The guys that I worked with, I've talked to a lot of them since then. There is a lot that needs to be, when it comes time for a discussion of a contract, I definitely understand the need. We need to go over all aspects of it. If they want to, everything needs to be on the table for discussion. And I definitely would support, being willing to listen to all aspects of that. That would all be all permissible subjects, I guess you would say. So, thank you.
To start with the first question, yes, I would support reinstatement of collective bargaining. When this first came out, I was behind the workers who were against it and encouraged them to speak up to the legislators. And I would do the same because they really are the ones that have the ability to change this back. So just encourage our city workers to speak out and try to get it changed. But without a doubt, even when this was going on, we continued with the collective bargaining that we could to ensure we gave all the employees a fair opportunity until it was changed completely. And I would continue to do so within rights that were given by the state. It's definitely up to the state level. We can't do anything that's outside of that or anything that's illegal, but anything we can do to ensure that all of our employees have the best chance at collective bargaining and to use those that are permissible out of first area.
So the reinstatement of collective bargaining, yes, I support bringing that back. In terms of the city, in terms of the negotiation with municipal subjects, yes, I support that. It's something that we need to influence and make sure that we're giving our employees the proper rights for the things that they can negotiate. I think the other thing, though, if you think about this at a lower level, is we want to make sure that our employees are happy. Happy employees do better work, they're more engaged, and they promote our city, and that's what we want to have. So by having the collective bargaining rights in place and negotiating those subjects that we can, and I think at the state level bringing it back is what we need to do. Thank you.
Okay, so this is 2 questions combined, correct? Okay. Yeah. I got 2 papers, or 2 pages, so bear with me. Okay, regarding the first question, the reinstatement, it's really not an issue that will ever come before the city council because that's handled on the state. But I would encourage the person that asked this vote for this, or asked this question, to contact their legislators, and I'll give you a hint. One of them's in the second row. He wants to wave.
Voted against this guy. Or we voted for the bill. He didn't vote for the bill.
Okay, all right. So anyway, if you don't want to talk to Charlie here, I can also give you the contact information of other representatives after we're done. And then the second half of the question regarding negotiate contracts. You may not know that the city council doesn't actually negotiate the contracts. That's done by the HR department and their staff. However, the city council does vote on the contracts. And so once the contracts are negotiated, approved by the unions, they come to the city council and we vote them up or down. I don't think I've ever voted no on a contract. But I just want to say that during my previous 12 years in the city council,
15 seconds.
ooh, I'll talk fast. I do always support the city workers and their rights. They need to have the tools, the equipment, and the training necessary to complete their jobs. Thank you.
Yes, I do support the city workers. I also support that anytime that the city worker can come to his boss and say, we have issues, we need to get them taken care of. And the most important way to take care of that is, I believe the city workers are willing to sit down, and those who are willing to sit down to a bargaining table and come up with solutions so you don't have other issues. And it's straight across the board. Anytime that you have to have an ombudsman come in, and you have to reconcile that argument between the city workers and the employees or the management, it becomes a great issue and it costs us a lot of money. So I believe that any group, any city employee who sits down at a bargaining table can accomplish a lot more than having to turn it over to the city and have the city ombudsman come in, because that costs both parties. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, speak loudly.
Can everyone hear me? I guess that's the initial question.
Go ahead.
As far as whether or not I support the reinstatement of collective bargaining, as the son of a former city employee, I have benefited from the collective bargaining aspect, and so I do support the reinstatement of that collective bargaining. I know, again, that is a state level decision, but I do support it. I believe that it's an incentive that not only helps and benefits our current employees, but it's an incentive that can help to attract new employees to our school districts, our local government, and to help serve our public. So again, I do support the reinstatement of that. With regard to negotiating permissible subjects, at this point, the permissible subjects have been significantly limited. And because of that, I would highly encourage employees to negotiate, and I would expect that they would negotiate the subjects that they are allowed to negotiate. I think it's important that they exercise that right, because that is the right that they have. So again, I would encourage city workers to negotiate what they can. Thank you.
Just in case you're wondering where the questions are coming from, I forgot to tell you that. We've actually had questions submitted by members of the public. They were due, I believe, about a week ago. And the questions have been provided ahead of time to our members so that they can at least prepare their answer. So with that, we'll move on to the second question, which will first go to Mr. DeSalvo. Should workers, both city and contract workers, on public works projects receive routine training in their craft, including OSHA training?
Yes. Look, when it comes to OSHA, the rules are there for a reason. As much as I might not follow them in my garage when I'm working on my own vehicle or something like that, they're placed there for a reason. Training in their own trade, anyone that's got a license with the state of Iowa, and whether it be insurance or doing some cutting hair, you've got to do extra hours every year to maintain that. So it only makes sense that any other position or someone that does anything for the city would maybe do some continuing ed of some sort of for additional training. As well, again, when I was in the summers kind of working for the traffic department, we occasionally would have to sit down and do these videos, and though they were rather mundane and dumb, at the same time, when something happened later on in the year, the only thing that led us to know what to do at the time was because we'd watched the video, and it makes sense. I know it's sometimes annoying to some people, they don't see a point, but when you get to being like that and start getting lazy, that's when someone gets hurt. So safety should be our number one concern. Thank you.
Without a doubt, I think ongoing training for your craft and safety should be included for all our employees and for contractors. It's actually required in some instances depending on what job you're doing. And I think right now the city is doing an excellent job of that. A good example is our Public Works Department just recently celebrated 3.5 years with no lost time injuries, which is a huge accomplishment. It just shows that they really are doing this ongoing training and making sure everyone's safe, because that needs to be a priority. We don't want any injuries on the job. We don't want any loss of life. So continuing what we're doing and maybe even looking at ways we could do an even better job.
So yes, absolutely. Training on the jobs for OSHA in the safety area as well as the trade that they're working on is paramount to making sure that we're successful. And by successful, that means everyone goes home at night, everyone's safe, as well as getting the job done. And by getting the job done, one of the things that we found in our work is when we do this training, our employees actually do better because they understand what they're doing and they understand the risk of things that they're doing, whether that's an ergonomic thing, whether they're bending over the wrong way, or doing things that are just naturally unsafe. By having this training, everyone's more safe. That actually saves us money because by being safe, we're not spending out money on insurance claims for injuries that happen on the job. So absolutely yes.
Absolutely, yes. Routine training is critical for city employees to do their jobs properly and safely. It doesn't matter if you're a city employee or a private industry employee, everyone needs routine training, on-the-job training, in order to do their jobs properly, successfully, and safely. And speaking of safely, I also had in my notes as a reminder to myself to congratulate Public Works on their 3.5 years of no work loss incidents. So that's a big achievement.
Thank you. As a business owner, I also think that everybody that is a business owner, and in the type of work that I do, heating, air, and electrical, and a building contractor, you need to have that safety training. I'm OSHA certified, I'm licensed with the state, I carry 5 licenses, and because I carry those licenses doesn't mean that I have everything down. I have to go and spend thousands of dollars a year on training to keep my license and to do the job that I'm doing now. When I applied for a permit for the city of Council Bluffs, they want to make sure my bond is up there, my insurance is up there, and they want to make sure that everybody that works for me either has a license or he has a journeyman license. The issue that we had when I worked for Omaha Public Power District, we had a lot of training. The sad thing about it was some of the management didn't push that training and people got hurt. We had a man who was totally burnt to death with 40,000 volts, and it took him 4 hours to get that man down. So anytime that you see films and you see what people have done because they take the risk of not paying attention to what has to be done is crazy. There was a sign that said in Oakland that this gentleman had, he's a inspector for the electrical department, and the license or the sticker on the electrical department said that, hey, this sign's not good enough, danger, electrical shock can kill you, it's not done. Well, they went out and they put up on this big huge sign, this electrician did, that said, this will kill you. Not only will it kill you, it'll hurt you while you're doing it. So the point is, safety is more important than anything. Thank you.
Did you hear the question, Pete?
Yeah, sure did.
Okay, go ahead.
So with my background in commercial insurance and in managing a city pool, I absolutely believe that workers, both direct city employees and contract workers, should receive routine training and OSHA training. I've directly seen the results of these trainings in working with commercial employers, and so I think there's no question of the importance of it. Iowa has an OSHA approved state plan for our health and safety of employees, and such a thing can only actually keep its approval if we continue with our training. Additionally, that program can only be effective if employees are trained in all the aspects of that program, which includes routine training and OSHA training. These things help to limit the number of workplace accidents and injuries that occur, which again, Council Bluffs is clearly doing a good job with that. But workplace injuries do happen, and oftentimes they surprise the employees and the employers. So I think, making sure that they have the routine training on how to prevent those injuries and how to respond if those injuries occur is essential for not only the city, but private employers for being successful. I'll take further and say that, when contractors are working on city projects, I believe they're acting in a position that directly affects the city and our community.
About 15 seconds, Pete.
Okay. So they should be held to the exact same standards and requirements as our direct city employees. Thank you.
Yes, I think it is important that we keep our workers safe and healthy. Your whole family many times depend on our workers being safe and healthy, so I think training would be important. I think of my own life, my son was injured at work and how it affected our whole family. And so I think that if we have healthy workers and we're keeping them safe, I think it's going to be better for our whole community. Thank you.
The third question goes to Melissa Head first. FEMA will potentially decide whether it will recertify the Council Bluffs levies or not in about 2023. As a city council member, what will you do to ensure that the city completes the projects it needs to finish in order to gain FEMA recertification and thus prevent the entire west and south ends from being designated as a flood zone?
I think our levy recertification is extremely important, and that was made very, very obvious during the 2011 flood. Had it not been for having good quality levees, we could have had a lot of damage to our city. So after that, we realized even more so why this FEMA certification is important, and have really looked into ways to fund it without having a huge inconvenience and a huge cost to taxpayers. We were able to do that through some sales tax revenue, and I think as a council member, it's our duty to ensure this stays on the budget and ensures it's a priority that every year we're just working that much closer to the goal, budgeting for it properly, and doing what needs to be done with it.
So I think it really goes without saying this is a must complete project for us. Having the west end underwater doesn't do anyone any good, whether you're on the east end or the west end. The key thing here, though, I think is 2023, I believe, is the year that we're kind of eyeing for the FEMA certification or recertification, and that's basically 5, maybe 6 years away from now. The total cost has been raised at about $50 million. That's kind of an estimate, but that's what's kind of been floated out there. And to date, we've spent about $8.5 million. So there's quite a bit of difference there. There's about a little over $40 million we're looking at over the next 5 or 6 years. And we really need to look at how we're going to pay for that. So we've had some sales tax revenue that's helping. There's some state monies for the Iowa floodwater mitigation fund that's helping as well, but that's still a big deal. So I think we really need to sit down and figure out exactly what the plan is and how we're going to fix this for the next 5 or 6 years, so that we're ready for the certification, because we have to have a certification to continue on.
Well, the work started on the levy recertification when I was still on the council, but we've got a long ways to go, actually. So if elected, I will continue to support resolutions that allocate both money and resources to the recertification of the levies. If we don't get them certified, about 40,000 residents will be living in a flood zone. And this means more often than not, the insurance premium is going to